Someone picked up Jimmy G. Why? Why would you do that?
Oh, it's on. Yeah. You just see on
for that money. What are you doing?
Yeah, we're
ready to go there in a minute.
Oh yeah. What do you? I did actually forget to message people that there'd be a podcast tonight, so we'll see who we get. But
you never know.
Yeah, never know.
It's time now, 10 and 7 o'clock. You might get Mike. He might be up.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. He's coming to the. I didn't realise he wasn't getting back till Saturday because he's come to the game on Sunday. I was like, "You're mad,
You're
man!
Crazy man!" So he loves it. Couldn't turn it down apparently. So
okay. And we just need.
It's because he likes being part of the league, apparently.
Yeah, well, it's what we like to see.
You know, first time people. If you want to join the league, obviously. You know. We could turn it into a fucking 18-team league.
18. Oh no! I'd have another proposal. I will talk to you about my proposal later.
Okay, that sounds very good.
The whole Liverpool idea effect, not really happened.
Nigel couldn't make it.
Yeah.
I recommended him. He said he could make it.
Don't do this whole. Phil, Predator's guy, he's always managed to do well. He is a shocking person.
Still a shocking person.
You guys got a trophy? No.
This guy's made a point to put away the drop on it. It's just too funny. Hello and welcome to the LOC Report. We are fresh off of our bye week as some other NFL teams are. It didn't quite work out last week. That's my fault, not Chris's.
It's okay, we're feeling very fresh today.
Yeah,
we got some new content and stuff like that.
Exactly. I certainly needed the bye week as I was not only coming back from a wedding but also very encumbered with a cold.
Congratulations, Ross, by the way.
Yes, of course. Congratulations, Ross. We must say that. And Nige sends his congratulations to you as well, Chris.
Does he? Oh, well,
yes,
thank you very much. Thank you.
And we should welcome Chris to the show. Hi, Chris. How's it going?
Hello. Thank you, Nige.
Other than being a bit chilly.
Yeah, I'm so cold. It's so cold. That's it. For those who don't, if you do end up being, someone who watches and you just wonder where we're kind of broadcasting from, deepest, darkest Britain. At this time of the year is not very pleasant.
Yeah, clocks have just gone back, and it literally feels like we've turned into like Sweden or something.
Winter has come.
Yeah.
So
hopefully this season's better than the last season of Game of Thrones.
Worse. I think we could probably make
with the December election, it could go either way.
Exactly. There's plenty to look forward to, but
that's for
we digress.
That's for the political subtext podcast.
Exactly. which we don't have an LOC.
Not yet.
Not yet.
We're going to branch out. Media empire first, fantasy football, then political subtext.
That's it. If you want to,
it's a logical.
If you want to present that, then that's great because I'd be a co-commentator there too. So
yeah, we've got it all covered, haven't we? But no, yes, we are talking about LOC football today. Well, to talk about LOC football, we need to talk about the news. So let's fire it up. Here we go. League news. Highlight. You know what? I didn't have a highlight, but I'm going to bring forward the discussion I was going to have with you. We're going to have a debate piece in the news of the LOC Report this week.
We're in.
My idea is, again, like the Hall of Fame, something I've brewed for a number of years. This idea has been brewing in my head for a couple of years too.
Okay.
Yeah, naturally we are a 12-team league, recently expanded. Now there's one of two ways you can go if you want to expand further, because I don't think we'd want to push it past 12 teams.
It's quite difficult.
There'd be very little interest in the league. So one way you could do it is obviously you could have essentially a 2-league system.
Yep.
Where you could have, B League, A League, standard English. You could have even a promotion, relegation, don't know, whatever. Or the other idea, which is one I've been mulling over, is you could have a league made up of not only, at the moment we exist as not only the owners of our teams, but the GMs and the head coaches. Well, what if a league existed where as an owner, you're allowed to decide the power structure of your own team. You can hire a head coach if you want. You can play the GM as well. You can be Jerry Jones. And yeah, there you go. So that's the idea. And I was discussing with Nige, because we all know Nige is interested in a reunion to the league.
Is it, but as an owner?
No.
In
fact, one Coach Stubbs may hang up the coaching headset.
Well, not you, obviously.
Yeah.
You?
And just become an owner GM and hire Coach Wells as my head coach.
Okay. Well, you could do that. Yeah. I mean, I'd sack yourself as your GM this year. Let's be honest. You could be.
No. Once again, the GMing hasn't been as awful as the coaching has been.
Okay.
As we'll see in my week's game that we're getting.
So it's okay. Well, I think that's there's nothing in the rules that's not allowed.
No, there's not. And yeah, I've had a chat with a couple of other people.
They would do the same thing, would they? So
potentially.
For example, if for example I said, okay, I'm an owner of my team.
Yeah.
But I'm a GM as well, and I'm the head coach. But
yeah, that's fine.
I will take on another co-head coaching job.
You can take on an offensive coordinator.
Okay, yeah. So
a defensive coordinator, which would be a bit pointless because all they do is change your defense each week.
That's fine, but not for another team in the league. Like, you couldn't be the head coach of two teams in the league.
No.
So you couldn't own one and head coach another.
No, exactly.
Okay,
no,
fair enough.
But like I said, it'd be down to each team's owner to decide what the structure would be like. So me and Nige discussed it and said I would obviously have a clearly defined GM role, which he can obviously input into. I would like to go get this guy, check for this guy, blah blah blah. And of course I could cover for team changes and whatnot when he's not there, or if he wants advice I could talk to him as well. So you could have that kind of structure. You could have a structure like you just said, Chris, where you are all three roles: owner, GM and head coach. You have an offensive coordinator here who you would liaise with and who you play, but ultimately the final say would always come down to you.
I am Paul Brown at the Cincinnati Bengals.
You are Paul Brown. Yeah, that is it.
There you go. So that's it. Well, I'd like to be that. That's legendary. But I don't see that being a massive concern actually.
No. And then maybe that's a stepping stone, because obviously to go to a 2-league system, maybe if there was appetite to do that. Right now, it would be 2 16 leagues. There would be no point. Even if we got 2 more players, it would then be 2 18 leagues, which is... Sorry, not even that, 2 17 leagues. We wouldn't be able to do that. We'd need 4 extra players just to get it to 2 18 leagues, which again...
that's right.
So it's a nice little middle ground if we want to bring guys into the league and also stay in. Because I'd never want to leave the league, but I'm not going to lie, I get really frustrated with fantasy sometimes. And I think it's made worse by actually doing the podcast, because when you have a tough season, it's never nice. No. It's even less nice when every week you have to rub your face in it.
Oh, you get pounded every week.
We both went through the tough years and had to sit here and talk. And it really grates on you. You can disengage when you're not doing this.
When nothing goes right, that's the thing. But I mean, you do turn it around a lot. I think that the more you think about it and the more you look at things, the more likely you are to be able to get yourself out of the hole. But yeah, I mean, so just going back to this point, we're not going to labour on it, because this is
the debate section of the
debate. So let's say you had, and in the history of the LOC, we've had this before. Yeah. Let's say you're an owner, and someone else is an owner, and you head coach someone else's. You had 2 teams basically between 2 people. So
sorry, starting out.
So there's 2 teams.
Yep.
Right. So you're the owner of one, and let's say Nigel's the owner of the other.
Yep.
You're in Division 1.
Yeah.
Your team's in Division 1, and you think Nigel's a better head coach, so he can head coach your Division 1 team. And as a result, his team's in Division 2. Yeah. Could you head coach his Division 2 team?
I see. So you're talking way down the line when we would have a 2.
Yes, that's right. It's for example, just because this is the only time this wouldn't necessarily be.
I would say yes, purely because it would be run as 2 separate leagues. You wouldn't be able to, it would literally be 2 separate leagues on 2 separate sites. You wouldn't be able to trade players or get any benefit from...
I love promotion relegation as well.
The only caveat would be is if one team did get promoted, you could no longer then serve as a head coach on that said team.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Likewise, you can, any time, just not in that structure, but if you're not happy with your GM or your coach's performance, you can fire them and find someone else, which is another dynamic we actually have the pressure.
Well, the 2020 AGM should be interesting.
Yeah. I'm not I didn't even consider voting on that. Like I said, it was just an idea. There's, like you said, there's nothing, You can have a co-owner in your team right now.
Yeah. I just can't see the problem of having that problem right now, except like at the end of the year, I suppose. Yeah, who wins the trophy is? I suppose the trophy is the team that's on the trophy, isn't it? It's not the
yeah,
individual,
exactly.
Yeah.
We have you have the team and the year, so it's yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For the statistics as well, I thought about it. Depending, maybe if you're just a pure owner, you probably wouldn't get a win-loss. But if you're, doing some capacity,
yeah, I mean it'll be based on team from then on in, wouldn't it? So that's.
Well, you could do that, yeah.
Yeah, that's just like it is in real life. So
yeah.
Okay.
So that's the.
Well, yeah, and if you're into statistics, I suppose you could have, the win-loss ratio of a head coach.
Yeah. Across multiple.
GM and an owner across.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I guess another spreadsheet you make.
Yeah, great. I don't do enough spreadsheets in my life already. Being a commercial analyst. There you go.
Well, if you like the sound of that, please do comment.
Yeah, and if you are watching along, which I don't think anyone is, but on the off chance, please do comment as well. So that was the debate piece of the LOC Report news this week. We'll go on to the actual news this week.
Sorry, we're just watching Monday Night Football back again, and that is the Dolphins absolutely going through. I mean, Alan Hearn's 12. I said that was poor.
And they still lost.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which brings us to the key transactions this week. So we have, let's call it 3.5 here. So our first of which is, and we'll show you on here as well. It's on the second page now, I think. So we have whatever Coach Gardner is going by nowadays. Was New Jettian Patriots, even though the guy's name was definitely Nugent.
Yeah, 100%.
So anyway, he added Jimmy Garoppolo for $36 and dropped Wayne Gorman. Now the Wayne Gorman drop, absolutely okay. Jimmy Garoppolo questionable in the first place.
Well,
compounded by the $36, and I'm trying to show you. Let's refresh this.
Can we just ask
scores.
Why is he going?
Well, that's an odd.
That is.
We're not
2017.
We're not in 2017 anymore, Toto.
That's it. Yeah, we're gone.
Well, Chris, you can talk about that.
Let's just go with this. Jimmy G, right? The reason why San Francisco are winning games right now is not because Jimmy G's been especially good. It's because their defense is absolutely unbelievably good. And, if we can get the stats up in a minute, when the NFL starts to say it's not 2017, but indeed 2 years later, then you'll see that the stats just don't suggest what.
You keep talking. I'll figure this out.
Right, I'm going to get my phone here because this is.
I think the NFL.com may be trying to scupper our podcast. Right.
This is not ideal.
But we can talk off of it. We might not be able to show you,
right.
But we can certainly talk off of it.
There we go. We can certainly we do it mobile. Mobile seems to work. Right, here we go. Mobile works. So Jimmy G, he's not been especially good fantasy-wise this year. He might have got San Francisco working, but he's the number 23 QB in the league. Yes, he's playing Arizona this week. Yes.
Thursday night, let's not forget as well. He's topped 20 points once. I think that's a stat that worth mentioning.
Yeah, NFL.com is absolutely rinsing us here because all the statistics aren't on here. But yeah, I just don't see it to be unbelievable value for what he's getting, and I'm not sure what his waiver budget was.
He had quite a lot of money left. I think he just got the 20. If I can see right here on the.
So if it's plus 16, then it may be, but I just don't see it.
Actually, so he's got 51 left on here. So he had 86.
Yeah, I just don't see the value there, if I'm honest. And yeah, he's playing Arizona this week, but as I said, he's a game manager behind a quality defense.
Yeah. So yeah, not the best of ads. Our next ad then was Cam Newton for Texans D, free agent.
Yeah.
By the Dream Team. So yeah, as the original Cam Newton owner.
Yeah, well, as the original Cam Newton owner who saw Cam Newton for what he was for the two weeks that he was fit, he didn't set the world alight. I think Cardinals play way better. Mm-hmm. I think there's less emphasis on the fact that Cam runs or doesn't run anymore.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to because Christian McCaffrey is a transcendently quality player.
Mm-hmm.
He is a if he continues the way he is, You know, he's got a long, storied career in the NFL to come.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and they don't necessarily need a QB like him anymore.
No, Carl Allen has showed fairly well.
And again, like we saw with Jimmy G, that's it. Carl Allen's been one of those game managers who doesn't need to be unbelievably good.
Yeah.
He just needs to sit behind a quality defense. And that's what they've got in Carolina. You know, that's it. And that's where they've found the gains recently. So yeah, I think Cam coming back in has the potential to rock the boat there to the point where. Yeah, I just think he's going to be. He'll go back into that role. A lot of ball to Christian McCaffrey. A lot of ball short. Not a lot of rushing touchdowns like we've seen in the past. He's never had a great arm. Yeah, from a fantasy perspective, I think that. Yeah, I just don't see the gain.
No, and he's already been ruled out for week 12. Week 10. So. Yeah, unclear that. Next one, final one, interesting one at least. The Dream Team also added Jalen Samuels and dropped Jamison Crowder for, again, free agent move. And this is a case, again, Jalen Samuels, with James Conner's injury, okay, It might not be serious, but he could at least miss the game. Benny Snell went down too. He is he's just coming off the knee surgery that he's back from, but, you know, it's another underrated ad, I think, by Viv.
I think that's more. I'm more excited about that than I am about Cam.
That's so.
You know, I think the dropping Jamison Crowder. I mean, so who cares?
Yeah.
Like at this point, you might as well try it, especially for nothing. Yeah, and yeah, he said if he's going to get 1 week, at least he's going to try it this week. You know, and I think that the way the Viv goes about his business a lot of the time, you know, you wouldn't put it past him. But at the same time, they're playing Indianapolis this week, and you know, I think that's really tough. So, as much as the ad's good, and if he plays, then great. Matchup's no good.
Yeah. So, and then the final one I had here is just a drop because I just want to. I think it's funny because the Tugfelds dropped Marcus Valdes-Scantling. Phil said last week that he did forget to do waivers, and he added MVS, and he said. Luckily, there was potential on the waiver this week. To which I replied, I think or something along the lines of, I think your definition and mine of potential differ somewhat. And he said, "You've little faith, Nath." Well, you have little faith in me, Phil. I might be having a bad season, but I do know my stuff. He got 4 yards, so.
Yep. That's it.
And he also got cut. So.
Number one thing you don't do: pick up receivers in a run-heavy team.
No, indeed. And he's not even been the best prospect. And myself, having owned him, I can. It's more from experience.
You'll know.
Yeah. And then finally, we have the trade blocks of Benetnes. I assume are still shopping Aaron Rodgers. He's had 2 great weeks.
I mean, you know, I think at this point.
And my team's still on the waiver: Juju Smith-Schuster, Devontae Freeman, Philip Lindsay, DJ Moore, Brandon Cooks, and Robbie Anderson. And bucking the trend, presumably still have all their players on the waiver block as well. Just a note. Okay, I didn't want to go back there. The trade deadline is approaching very soon. I'm not sure if it's at some point this week or next week. He thinks it might be the 9th. But if you are thinking of getting some trades done, it's coming up soon. So bear that in mind. We will go to the weekly recaps now, and of course we had a bye week, so we did not pick a marquee matchup. But had we had a podcast last week, Chris, we had We had the Cump Bowl 2 of this season. We also had the Wedding Bowl, me against Ross.
It turned out to be quite close in the end.
Yeah, and I don't think we had any.
We didn't have anything else particular. We had the Tom versus Ollie G sort of alternative friendship bowl.
Yeah. Maybe alternative friendship bowl. Maybe if we go with this one, because this would have been 2 teams vying for the top spot in the division. Actually, yeah. I can't see
that was the power ranking
other
bowl.
Teams. That was it was. Of course, it was a division week. So we'll go with that one then. For our weekly recap, it is Bare Necessities against Forge Flyers. Bare Necessities took on Forge Flyers. Oh, what is happening here, dear folks? That's not going to help them. Don't you just love live podcasting, folks? I don't think you'll have heard that on your stream, thankfully. Just checking. No, desktop audio does not look like it's on, but we very much did hear that. So
there's just some like random crank music came on, like.
Gotta love NFL auto playing video with their ads, don't you? Right, we'll try that again. Forge Flies against Bare Necessities.
Oh no.
Forge Flies took on Bare Necessities last week in a battle for supremacy of the division. Bare Necessities were just behind the surging Forge Flies, and surge Forge Flies did as they extended their win streak to 3 and Bare Necessities' losing streak to 3, 161 to 110. On Forge Flyers' side, great day. Well, who didn't do well is probably the easier question, because the only player under 10 points, under 12 even, was Will Watts. On the other side, Bare Necessities by all means had a good day as well. Deshaun Watson with 34 points, Edelman with 20, but obviously not enough to beat Forge Fly's. History of this matchup, now annoyingly on a different browser. Where is it? Yeah.
Damn you, Microsoft Edge.
Yeah. That's Firefox. Bare Necessities are now 6-9 all time against Forge Flyers.
Who uses Microsoft Edge, by the way?
No one. No one uses Microsoft Edge.
No one uses Microsoft Edge. No one who's got any sort of imagination. Right, so let's just get onto it. I mean, 161 points is a fantastic score. I can't remember the last time my team went that high. I'll be honest. I just can't remember. It's been a few years now.
Mm-hmm.
There's been some changes in the last couple of weeks which we didn't talk about last week. I picked up Latavius Murray and dropped Damian Williams at last.
That was great.
Oh, Latavius Murray, he's come up trumps for me the last 2 weeks. Let me tell you. I think he scored more than Damian Williams in 2 weeks, which is hilarious.
You mean across Damian Williams' season?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Across this whole season. Yeah, absolutely. Bringing Christian McCaffrey back doesn't hurt.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what's the components there? You know, everyone scores a touchdown in the first. You know, every offensive player scores a touchdown. Steelers against Miami is a bit of a takeaway. I've been holding on to them for a few weeks for that particular game, and see, ultimately after that, who cares? But yeah, I think this week the matchups played really into my hands.
Mm-hmm.
Goff against Cincinnati was just a 1 week spot start. Well. Dak was out, say Arizona again. San Francisco, obviously, McCaffrey's not great, but it's Christian McCaffrey. Tennessee, Mike Evans, I expected.
I'll say that one wasn't a good matchup either.
I didn't. I expected a bloodbath there, yet Tennessee's secondary wasn't great on the day. Just couldn't handle him.
No.
But that's the thing. That's the only thing with Mike Evans is that he'll give you those sort of games, but then next week
he's very feast or famine.
Very much so. Austin Hooper's been a quality pick off the Ravens for me, and Marlon Mack. His ceiling's 15, his floor's 7, pick in between, whatever you want. I'm really impressed with that. Dave, on the other hand, great week again, 109 points. He keeps scoring 100 points or more. Blown out of the water this week, but I say it's a shame that he came against me in that week. Against a lot of other teams in the league, he's beaten that, and he's been consistently doing it all year. So we shouldn't worry about that. Deshaun Watson's the catalyst for that. But I think I want to pick up an Edelman because Edelman is the guy who, mid-round in the draft.
Very much wishing that I would have followed our mock draft and taken him instead of Coach.
Well, that's it.
How it's turned out.
He really has given some rewards for those who took him. So, Damon will have the same sort of week, if not better. And, he produces these sort of teams every year and somehow doesn't make the playoffs. So, I hope he does this year, but not at the expense of me.
Indeed. And it's not looking likely at the moment because, my dad 3-game losing streak now falls to 4-4, and you edge forward to 6-2.
Yes.
Next game, then, we have the Comp Bowl 2. It is Pakistan against the Tugfarts. The league-leading Tugfarts took on, the Tide League losing Pakistan or near enough, in Week 8. And, surprise, surprise, Phil did come out on top. However, not how you would expect. The Gypsy King lives because he won 84 to 76. Looking down the lineup, Stafford had a good day for 29. That did prove to be pretty good cover, bringing him in from Mahomes. Dede Westbrook did not play, however, so because they were there. Barkley got 20, and the Patriots D, who continues to carry this side, got 22, but not really much else to speak of. Pat's side, on the other hand, Josh Allen got 21. Jordan Howard, who was also a good pickup, got 17, and the Titans D got 12. But just like Tugfards, outside of that, nothing really to speak of. So Tugfards now still league leading 7-1, 4-game win streak. Pakistan on the 2-game slide, 4-2-6. History of this matchup is now over here somewhere. Excuse me, listeners. 3-3.
Well,
for 3-3.
I mean, I don't know which cracks we're going to paper over this week. Because they must all be papered over
The
by
giant,
now. I mean,
Grand Canyon-sized chasm.
There is a chasm to paper over here. Look, the difference between these two teams right here, right now, is the defense. Every single week, the Patriots D is bailing Phil out massively. You know, there will come a time, much like the Patriots themselves, where they'll come against better opposition and they will lose.
Could be this week.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, so they're playing the Ravens this week.
Yep, Ravens at M&T Bank. Yep.
Right, so yeah, and this is the thing. This is the thing with Phil's team is that you look at that, and Stafford's done very well against a rubbish New York Giants defense and secondary, which he should be doing.
Yeah.
You know, Saquon Barkley scoring against a rubbish Detroit Lions run D because it's rubbish, and the Patriots are taking away 22 points from Baker Mayfield and the completely inconsistent and misfiring Cleveland offense. Other than that, what worries me is that there's 4 other skill positions there which have done nothing. Nothing at all. Westbrook, Golden Tate's done 85 yards, which is not a terrible return, but won't do that every week.
And that's without Sterling Shepard in the lineup.
Without Sterling Shepard in the lineup, yeah, absolutely. And if it's not him, it's Evan Ingram. And we've been down this road before. You know, Corey Davis against Tampa, you're not going to get a better matchup than that, really, is it? And done nothing. As we've seen, MVS has got cut. Kicker's done nothing, albeit against San Francisco. And yeah, look
not
at
even
this.
on a bad buy situation.
Yeah.
He's without Mahomes, and Ingram's probably the biggest player there.
You could bring Allen back in there, but again, misfiring offense.
Yeah,
you could bring Landry back in, misfiring offense. Yeah, I struggle to understand how this team is where it is. Simply put. But hey, it's where it is because they're playing opposition like this, and you know we've been fairly cruel to Phil's team there, but ultimately he is winning against teams that are significantly worse than him. You know, to get to that record.
No, it's fine. We gave Phil credit earlier in the season when he was earning his victories.
100%.
Didn't matter that he was playing low score teams when he was absolutely blasting the doors off them.
Yep.
Now he's not blasting the doors off them. He's getting supremely lucky from the Patriots defense continually.
Yep.
And just still facing the same poor opposition somehow week in week out.
Exactly that. Yeah, I said I don't think that Pat's had Pat on paper there. You know, has had a better week than Phil. Albeit there's 10 points missing from the defense.
Yeah,
if there's 22 points to the Titans D against Tampa, it's the same. It's the same team. Albeit I'd say there's probably more upside. Bearing in mind what you see, you know.
And let's take a look at Mecole Hart. Yeah, he's not playing Mecole Hardman.
No.
Actually, had he played Minshew, would he have won?
No,
it would have been very close.
Would have been closer.
Very close.
Yeah. So it's a touchdown here and there away, and that's Pat's problem is that he's got skill positions here, there, and everywhere. Who aren't scoring touchdowns, who aren't even getting the yardage to be close to touchdowns. So, I mean, Pat's team is dead in the water. We can put a fork in that now, but Phil, for a team that is league leading,
they're going to be a quick out, and unless he can pull off some trades,
that's right.
Somehow get some free agent positions, they are just going to be one and done.
Yeah,
like every other Tugfards team we've seen
right.
in years past.
Gets the players thing that get found out. I mean, they'll get found out against other better teams. Simply put.
Next one, then, we have the Dream Team against Bucking the Trend. In what's shaping up to be a possible, if not likely, unlikely at this stage, but possible toilet bowl for the LOC. The Dream Team took on Bucking the Trend in Week 8. The Dream Team came out on top, though, as they won it, well, you can call it winning, 76-68. Looking down the lineups, Carson Wentz put up 16, which somehow made a difference here. Stephon Diggs got 12. Joe Mixon, he popped up actually with 14, and the Eagles D with 16. On Mike's side, Kirk Cousins disappointed with 12, no surprises there. Metcalf was a nice bright spot with 13, and the Saints D got 12. We do actually have some history for Mike's team now, because this is the second time he's played Viv this year, and he is now 1-1 against the Dream Team all time.
This is the same team again. This is the same. I mean, bearing in mind that the QB's granted different, but Kirk Cousins throws a touchdown here. It's a win for Mike, and those are the sort of margins that we're talking about. I mean, like, I'm not going to sit here and say that Viv's team is great, because it isn't, but it does have playmakers on there that you can potentially look at. You look at Diggs, who's going to be, let's be honest, he's a bit of a monster. 143 receiving yards, no touchdowns.
Yeah.
Fantastic. But he's not playing the Washington defense every week. That's it. Joe Mixon's turned up. Yes, he's got a touchdown. Great. But, we've seen him be ever so consistent all year. And you look at that, look at Gore, Ronald Jones. That's it.
It's Gore and outs for me.
Guys like that.
Usually they'll have a bit of a better game than that on an average week, and that bumps Viv's score up to a respectable score.
That's right. I mean, Buffalo's D is very, very difficult to play against right now. And they didn't rely on Wentz very much at all. They relied on the running game, and it worked. Mike's team, unfortunately, is just what it is. It's lacking in playmakers. He's got very little upside there, really. The only upside was on the bench, annoyingly. Daniel Jones played this week.
QB1 this week, I believe.
100%. Played against Detroit. That does take you to the win.
Yeah.
You play Cousins against Washington. You expect him to throw a touchdown. Again, he is what he is. This time, I think of that 19 points, there's an awful lot of field goals in that. I don't really know where Mike can turn, except that he hopes he gets to 80 points every week and plays against a 75-point team, as we've seen on the other side. Viv, on the other hand, take the win while you can, but I mean, there's plenty of other teams in the league would absolutely have decimated that this week. Even, dare I say it, even the losing Pat.
Yeah, and we missed it last week, because Viv did actually somehow have he started 0-3, but had a 3-game win streak at some point. Did lose in week 7, but
I just don't see how Mike's got to 3-5. I mean, fair play to him that he's got that far.
Well, we'll see when we do the milestone standing and stats like we always do.
Yeah.
And that will highlight a lot too. Anyway, here we go on to our next game, the New Jersey Patriots against the Tom's Tyrants in the Alternative Friendship Bowl. Two teams again vying for places in the division and the wildcard spot faced off in week 8, and it was a competitive one, 124-110 in favour of Coach Gardner's side. He notches a win coming off a loss. Looking down the lineups, Russell Wilson had a solid day with 20 points, but solid was pretty much the word for Coach Gardner's team. Julio Jones got 15, Cooper Kupp got 28 in London. Evan Ingram got 10, Kenny Golladay got 22, and the Vikings D got 16. For Tom, the quarterback really let him down. Kyler Murray got 10. Fournette had an okay day with 14. Carson did well with 15. Shark got 14. He's been a revelation. James Conner tried to make it a Monday night comeback for 21. While the special teams, Lambeau and the Niners D got 11 and 21 respectively. Coach Gardner's 3-5 now. Meanwhile, Tom falls to 4-4. History of this matchup all time. Tom's Tyrants, who are down here, are now 4-2 against Coach Gardner.
I mean, these two teams again very similar in the sense that they've done very similar things with their skill positions, except Cooper Kupp got a very, very big out on in the London game.
Being there in person as well. We'll come onto this with my team in a bit. Why I was salty, but it was crazy. They threw the same pass to Kupp about 5 times. Each time it was a deep crosser over the middle of the field for about 25 yards.
Yeah.
Every single time. They did nothing to stop it. And then there was obviously the touchdown where they did some couple of reverses, threw it to Kupp, and the cornerback was on the floor when Kupp caught the ball, which obviously got a lot of his points. But yeah, great day by Kupp.
Yeah, I mean the matchups were great here. I mean you look on Ollie's team, you got Wilson against Atlanta, you got Julio against the Seattle secondary, which has been pretty leaky all year. Cincinnati have been terrible, Detroit have been terrible, Giants have been terrible on D. Green Bay haven't been, but you see why. Washington give up points to defenses everywhere. So I think I think it's about time to restart.
Oh, it certainly isn't.
That's it. Not wait an hour. That's it. I'm hoping we'll start talking it now. But if there was a perfect storm, that would be it.
Can we just say as well, this is my phone, apologies, that Coach Gardner, once again, has brought a curse to whatever kicker he's chosen. He has now got put a kicker out of a job. He's got a family to feed, Ollie. This isn't cool.
Stop calling your team a different name.
I can't wait to see what he does with Kaimi Fairbairn this week.
Oh, wow. That's it.
I actually look forward to this one.
That's it, yeah.
And happy birthday, by the way.
That was his birthday?
It is.
All right, birthday. That's it. Well, birthday present. And same time, another solid week. But that's the difference. Really, is Cup's points and the fact that Kyler Murray just runs around a lot, or doesn't run around a lot in this one, and doesn't throw touchdowns. And it's you play New Orleans in the Superdome. You suppose you expect that.
Mm-hmm.
So do you go with someone like that in a matchup like that, or do you go with?
Did he have Winston still? He does have Winston. It would have fallen a bit short. To be fair to him.
It would have fallen just short.
Would have needed another player in
That's
there.
right. But all of us when the Dolphins were good. Something like that. I suppose it's fairly predictable what happens there. But I don't think he can be rightly proud of the score. But, Ollie's matchups were just that much better this week.
Much like my dad's team, like you said,
100%.
play pretty much anyone else in the league, and you would have won
for sure
this week. Unfortunately. So we'll motor on then to Ixan against Bedetonators. Ixan face Bedetonators again, vying for the wildcard spots and to stay alive in the playoff race. It would be Ixan that achieved that task, as both these teams were 3 and 4 entering this week. Bedetonators. Completely repaint my narrative. Ixan blew a chance to keep up in the wildcard race. Meanwhile, Bedetonators keeps their hopes alive for another week. They won this one 114-80, and I'm going to show you the chart here because Ollie was on about. It's not going to load, is it? He was on about 30 points. Oh, screw it. Just take my word for it. He was on about 30 points entering the Sunday night game. And then he had Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Jones, and Jamal Williams, who got 30, 35, and 16 respectively to bring home that W. The Colts also got 11 for what it's worth. Ixan, though, Phillip Rivers only got 12. Gurley got 10. But he was rested half the game, basically. Dalvin Cook got 23, as Dalvin Cook does. And Zane Gonzalez got 11. But it wasn't enough. The history of this matchup now for Bedetonators, they are 7-6 all time against Ixan.
Yeah, I mean, Ollie's riding I'll call them the Holy Trinity because they are here. They are the Rodgers, Jones, and Williams.
I pointed out Williams a few weeks ago on the on the key transactions bit. He was added as a free agent. I would have picked him up had I had another spot. He cleared waivers and was added. Great addition. I totally agree, and I think that he brings value there and a boldness to it. Yeah. But as we've seen in years gone by, it's Green Bay or bust, and if Green Bay don't do well, he doesn't do well. It helps the offense is so running back centric as well, not just running them, but throwing the ball.
You look at Aaron Jones,
159 yards receiving. Crazy. What is that?
Yes, and that only helps Rodgers. I mean, it's a perfect storm for him. Yeah. But if Green Bay do badly, he will do badly. Mm-hmm. So easy. That Edmonds has gone down as we've seen last week, and everyone else is completely underwhelming. On the other side, Ben, talk about underwhelming. That's what you've got. Dalvin Cook's keeping him alive, barely, but other than that, Gurley is not the player he was from seasons gone by. Derrick Henry stopped scoring. Cortland Sutton's been interesting, but not brilliant in a pretty stagnant offense. Rivers is playing.
I can't believe he's stuck with Rivers. Rivers and that Chargers offense. I don't know what his points have been in the recent weeks.
Barely throws for 200 yards. It's not been great. I mean, look, 25 yards granted against Tennessee last week, but you play in Chicago, you know what you're getting. Yeah,
in one of the last 4 weeks, he's gone over 20 points.
He's playing Green Bay this
funnily enough, that's basically since we saw Melvin Gordon come back. So
yeah, I mean, it could be another bloodbath this week. He's playing against Green Bay. I just don't see the value. I mean, we look at the benches. Have we got anybody else?
Yeah.
We have. So I mean, from Ollie's perspective, I mean, no. And then we look on the other side. George Kittle's not the guy. No. Ridley. No. Bears Dean. No. So yeah. Ben's managed to scrape to 80 points, but I think he's struggling with the problem that you see with Mike's team, with Viv's team, Pat's team, and even Phil's team at the moment, is that he's got skill positions that just simply aren't doing anything.
Yeah.
You come back to me and say Marvin Jones scored 3 touchdowns 2 weeks ago, but then fine. But
that sounds short. 4.
4. Yeah. So,
but yeah, that was a complete fluke when it happened.
Exactly. So that's the sort of production you get. And, I mean, those two teams, Ollie's is spotty, but Ben's is underwhelming.
Yeah, indeed. And then our final game of last week, it's the Wedding Bowl. Ross got married and I was a groomsman. So we'll preview it. 4 weddings and a few Newsom versus Gridiron Gang. 4 weddings and a few Newsom were tied for the division lead, coming off a 3-game win streak, looking to keep that up against the lowly Gridiron Gang, who did get a win the week before and would be looking to finally try and jumpstart something. How close they would come, but they did lose it 108 to 102. On Coach Nunn's side of the ball, Mason Rudolph was a spot start and he did well, bringing home the win with 20 points. Tevin Coleman, though, 4 touchdowns and 36 points. Great day from him. Michael Thomas got 16. No one else over 10, though. On Gridiron Gang, Drew Brees got the start this week over Tom Brady for Gridiron Gang. He got 31. Tyrell Williams from the free agency got 15. DeAndre Hopkins got 11. Juju Smith-Schuster came up on Monday night, but not by enough with 16. And then the Jags D got 19. So Ross moves to 6-2 in a 4-game win streak. Gridiron Gang drops another, bringing the series for this one 5-4 in favour of Coach Nunn.
You finally got over 100 points.
Well, hey, it had to happen eventually. Hey.
That's and you carried a player. Hooray.
Yeah, and we'll come back to that after you've.
Let's be honest here. We got some shoots of recovery at long last.
At long last.
Possibly not the like Ollie Burdett style, gonna go and rinse the division, but shoots of recovery nevertheless. Ben must feel really gutted that he dropped Drew Brees.
Yeah, I've been holding him since I think week 5 or 6, pretty much solely for this exact. Not just this exact week, but obviously going forward
as well. Yeah, I think that's well worth it. I mean, you do have now the oldest QB pairing in the
league. I kind of like that. Combined age of 82,
again. Oakland have looked really good. I'm going to go with it. John Gruden turning around. They do.
They look like a really good team.
They look really good. Tyrell Williams, like him. I think against Houston again, tough matchup.
Easy matchup.
Well,
yeah, they haven't got a cornerback to rub together.
That's true. And then they just lost JJ Watt for the year.
Yep.
Guide. So anyway, that's it on paper.
All your players against Houston.
In practice, it does not. So 15 points there, a really good return. Hopkins at last looking good against the leaky Oakland D, but so what? At last come good. Juju's come good, yes, against Miami. So, look, you've got the matchups there looking good. You think, if I was doing this last week, I'd say Brandon Cook's great. He's good for 8 or 9 points.
Yeah. So, while you're on the topic, I will...
That's a shame.
Because this is the sole
and
thing...
And the Jags, of course, who completely, mashed up Sam.
Yeah, they did well. So, this is the sole thing that cost me this week. And this is what made the loss really sting for me. Because, let's just say it to begin with. I was thinking of starting either Brandon Cooks or Devonta Freeman. It was a pretty much toss-up for me. Obviously, Freeman had Shaw, so it kind of warded me off it. Otherwise, I probably would have started him. I went with Cooks because I was seeing him at London. He was playing the absolutely ropiest Bengals secondary.
100%.
And on the second play of his game, he gets a concussion.
Yep.
You can look at it 2 ways. Had I started Freeman, I get the win. Josh Reynolds, who came in as a direct replacement for Brandon Cooks. You know what the Rams do? They don't move receivers around in an injury. They just bring Josh Reynolds into whoever's injured. He goes on for 70 yards and a touch. Would have got the win. It's so frustrating when you feel like you said, Chris, you finally pieced it together. Everything else pretty much went well this week.
Yeah.
For that to cost you a game, and basically, my season was effectively over, but this does put the final name.
It really does. I mean,
it stings more than any other loss this season.
But you can also look on the other side and you go like, right, Tevin Coleman's done nothing all year, and then go.
Oh yeah, that
points.
but I can't fault Ross for that. Ross has probably got one of the deeper teams. I think it's fair to say.
Yeah,
certainly after that Adams trade.
Yeah, right. If it wasn't for him, it's Josh Jacobs. Look, I just think that Ross's team is made up of.
I think he had some bye-week trouble this week. Let's take a look.
Yeah,
Ryan was injured. Cooper's out.
Sanders is out.
And the other Sanders who just got traded.
Yes, true. Yeah, both of them, right? So, yeah, I'm putting Coleman in, fair enough. It's worked out for him. It's pretty underwhelming otherwise. Michael Thomas is an absolute stud, no doubt.
Yeah.
And Josh Jacobs has been really good for him all year. But other than that, it's just some solid points. But without those 3 touchdowns, this is a completely different review.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's managed to find a way. How long that way continues to be found is the question. But yeah, I can't tip Ross for anything other than to push me particularly hard in the division. But at the moment, his record speaks for itself.
Yeah.
Somehow it's pieced it together for you. Yeah. This would have been the week if you'd have won this. I'd have said, right, here we go. This is it.
Yeah.
Going forward, but I'm gonna sort of take that back because the matchups that you've had: Arizona, Houston, Giants, Oakland, Cincinnati, Miami, Cincinnati again, and the Jets. That is as good a matchup as you're going to have any given week.
Pretty much.
So there's your ceiling. Congratulations. Well, near enough.
Brooks Cooks didn't smash his head in.
No.
But hey ho, is what it is. Ross moves to 6-2. So we will go now. What's next? No power rankings. Tom actually did get them out before we would have done the podcast hilariously last week, but
well, that's it. He's making up for lost time. Then.
Yeah, but they are not out yet this week, and apologies while I try and tap back to the standings page because for some reason it doesn't give me the buttons. Okay, here we go. But we're going to do the milestones first anyway, so we'll take a look at the win-loss stuff. So no change at the top yet, but it is worth pointing out that my dad did lose to Tom and Phil in consecutive weeks. Week 6 and week 7, so he's doing
catching them up.
Yeah, he's doing his best to blow the top spot there. And looking in terms of regular season, I did notch my 80th career loss somewhat harshly.
Yep,
but I did nonetheless. Nothing else.
And can we just say, Oliver Dett, you might as well not have bothered.
74 and 7 from the regular season. That's what you'd like to see.
Congratulations after 10 years.
Yeah,
just you're back to where you started from.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You're nearly at parity as well, Chris. One more will get you to parity, and one more for Ollie will get him to 80, and
we're getting there.
We could have some lead changes soon, though. Phil's tied it with Tom, and Ben's actually creeping up on Ollie. You are creeping back up on Ben after, bearing in mind he's had a season less than myself and you, which is hilarious.
That's pretty bad, yes. Yeah. Not ideal.
No. So if we go to the standings now, so Tuckcloud's still leading their division unjustly, 7-1.
Again, I'm going to say it because he's going to respond to me anyway, but you look at the points against again.
It's ridiculous, though. Other than bucking the trend, which I said to explains how he is 3-5.
Yep.
They have conceded. No one else is that so. Only a couple of other, no. There's only one other team in the 600. All of the teams under 700 points reside in the Southampton division, and the 4 lowest conceded points. That's actually ridiculous.
You're so fortunate.
The Southampton division has been a gift, and Phil is the only one that's benefiting from it. Hilariously, there you go. Again. Dream Team is 4-4. Bucking the trend 3-5. Palestine 2-6. Portsmouth division. It is a hot mess, but also an interesting race. 2 4-4s and 2 3-5s. No one particularly good, but it makes for entertaining viewing at least. It does, yes. Ixan currently leading it on points, 9 points to be exact. Tom's Torrance second there.
I wouldn't be surprised at the end of this week everyone was 4 and 5 in there.
Could happen.
They could. I'd be surprised. We'll have a look in a minute.
But then there's the New Jersey and Patriots 3-5. Then we go to the Winchester division. This one's also quite spicy. Forge Flyers leading at 6-2. I believe you are the highest forward points. Yes, you are. Only team over 900. And to be fair, there's quite a few that aren't even over 800, so that's quite the accolade. And Ross's team there as well, 6-2. just behind. Then we have Bare Necessities at 4-4. They've slipped off the pace a bit. And Gridiron Gang there at 2-6 as well. And so we'll go to the breakdown now. You are now top spot, Chris. Deservedly so too. 11-0 weeks in a row. Deservedly knocking off Phil, who, other than 2-9 in 2 weeks, the last 2 weeks, has had a spotty 3 weeks around that. Bare Necessities, they are third in the metric. Ixan, surprisingly, are fourth. Tom's Tyrants there as well. Ross's team, despite being 6-2, to your credit, what you were saying, Chris. Perhaps not justly 6-2, but they are, even though they've had a 48-40 breakdown. Then again, the usual suspects. Ollie's team 40-48, despite the good week. And then again, who you would expect near the bottom there. It's worth noting Mike's team 3-5, but a whopping 16-72. Through 8 weeks of the season. Coach rating then, Viv's team, he's top 46. As we like to say though, not a lot of depth really there. Ben SSCs, they are second with 67. Again, not a lot of depth. Chris, you're doing a pretty good job. Probably the best job out of the top 3, I'd say there, with 95 on the bench. Ross's team, again, depth is a bit spotty, but 107 still good. Pakistan, 120. My team, 125, so me and Pat have left, and Mike, to be fair, 125 as well, have left some points going. But then you get to the big ones. Ixam 130, Tuckfield's 149. So even though he's been getting these Gypsy wins, he doesn't need the points. He leaves them on the bench. Coach Gardner 155 and Bedetner's 179. Like you said, Chris, they could make that division interesting, and they certainly have been scoring the points to do it. And really, Tom must be ruining opportunities to be leading that division. 229 points left on the bench.
That's crazy.
Through 8 weeks, that is an average of about 20 a week, just under 20 a week. Pretty crazy.
That's just absurd.
Yep, then we get to the true rankings. Chris, you are unsurprisingly top. My dad is then second.
That's not surprising either, by the way.
No, with the amount of consistency, it's fair to say. We'll take a look at his points against, just to circle back. Tuckford's third, again, justly so that they dropped down a bit. Ross's team fourth, perhaps propped up a bit by the coach score and obviously the record. Ixan there, you'd expect them their dream team as well. Tom's Tyrants perhaps a bit low. They've looked better than that. But then there's New Jersey and Patriots could be on the rise. Meanwhile, the 3 at the bottom are where they should be. And we'll just circle back, like I said, to check out that's points against. And 802 points against, which is among the highest. Not the highest, but certainly among the highest. There you go.
There it is. There's the stats for this week. Yeah,
stats, interesting stuff right there. Go and look at them in your own time because there's a lot of interesting stuff. But we are going to move on to next week now, and to do so for week 9, we need to pick a marquee matchup. We have Tom's Tyrants against Pakistan, but then it is against the Tuckfards. Gridiron Gang against Bucking the Trend. Fortifiers against the Dream Team. 4 Weddings and a few Newsum against New Jersey and Patriots. And Bare Necessities against Ixan. So we have a Toilet Bowl currently and Gridiron Gang against Bucking the Trend. We have rematch of Corona Bowl 5 in Bededneds against the Tuckfards. And I think that's probably...
I don't think there's many other.
There's a few others kind of in the middle of the pack teams facing off, but...
I think Bededneds Tuckfards has all the hallmarks of a team.
Let's go with it.
A team that's going to be, it needs to be on the rise against one that's very much not.
Mm-hmm. There we go then. It's no, don't play yet. It's Bededneds against the Tuckfards in week 9. Yeah, it's in time with the TV as we're watching Monday Night Football. But we are interested in Bededneds against the Tuckfards. The league-leading Tuckfards, 7-1 on a 4-game win streak, take on the Bededneds, who are just coming off of a win after a loss. Projections have this one going in the Tuckfards' favour and extending that lead, 89-79. Let's take a look down the lineups. Starting on the Tuckfards side, Adrian Peterson comes in from the waiver to the starting lineup. Keenan Allen comes back in, and Mark Ingram comes in off of his bye as well. Going to the bench, Dede Westbrook, and I imagine he's dropped the other 2 players. Corey Davis was one, can't remember the other, who cares. Phil is going with 30 personnel this week. Bededneds, in the meantime, they are sticking with Aaron Rodgers. There's a QB change for Bededneds. Lamar Jackson does not come in off of the bye. The 2 Packers running backs continue to start. And Sammy Watkins, I think he comes back in. Over Chase Edmonds, who is obviously injured. Injury news, Allen has a hamstring injury but he'll play. David Johnson not practicing. I doubt he'll play there on the Thursday night game as well. Last little bit, then Chris can preview this one for you. We'll talk about the history of this matchup all time, and the history is 4-9 in favour of the Tuck Farts, so quite a one-sided one there.
Absolutely. Now, we're going to go to Phil's team first of all, because it's more fun to talk about Phil's team, because they're the ones that have got the most to lose. They're the league leaders.
I want a petition, if Phil actually wins the Corona Bowl this year, for him to change his name to the Gypsy King.
That would be good. I say they should do. It should do, because this is it. And if he can win this week, he can win any week. Because look at this. Yes, he's got Stafford playing Oakland, which I think is a really good matchup for him. But going down the list, you see Adrian Peterson against Buffalo.
That's not so good.
It's not so good. No, exactly. This is where I'm going with this.
Oh, okay, sorry. I'll let you roll on.
Peterson versus Buffalo, not good. Barkley and Golden Tate against Dallas. I'm not massively sure on that, especially with the way Dallas is going to cut through the Giants D. Keenan Allen against Green Bay, horrific matchup. Ingram against New England, horrific matchup. The kicker against Tennessee, not a good matchup. Patriots against Baltimore, potentially could be their worst matchup of the year. Yeah. So I don't want to start getting really negative here, but I think that the way that it's going to go is that he's going to have to cling on to Stafford, hope Barkley is Superman, and then have some of the supporting cast. Because the Patriots, whether you like them or not, that's it. They're not going to get too many takeaways this week just because Lamar's going to run around a lot. Yeah. Yeah. They played against someone who they haven't played against so far. The type of QB that not many teams play against a lot. So I'd be interested to see how they deal with that. On the other side, you look at Rodgers, Jones, and I presume, Williams is playing as well. All three of them at the top. The Trinity of three. Playing against the Chargers, I like it. The Chargers haven't been great on D this year. They made Miami look really good earlier in the year. What are they going to do to Green Bay? Rodgers has been hot for the last few years. Jones has been hot. Williams is chipping in there. You've seen him down the list a little bit more. You got Stubbs against Jacksonville again. Say secondary that isn't the same anymore. And Mike Williams in the same game as on the other side with Allen. Don't really like that very much. Don't like Watkins at Minnesota. Prater I don't mind, and the Browns at Denver I quite like as well, just because Flacco's been alright but hasn't been brilliant. He's been
Flacco's gone.
Oh,
Flacco's done.
He's done. Who's in?
Brian Allen.
Even more so. Alright, so if that's what happens with Flacco, what's going to happen with this guy? Yeah, I think Ollie's got much more upside, especially if the Packers play well. On the other side, I think Phil has a good QB start. I think Barkley's obviously the number one. And other than that, can the Patriots recreate something that they haven't done yet? Played against a different QB, different style QB, away from home in a tough place against a very, very, very good Baltimore team.
I think you said it all, Chris. Nothing to add for me there as well. The summary of the story for Tuck Farts is bad matchups and not the best of players. Let's be honest.
No, and we've seen last week that even in decent matchups, they did comparatively nothing. Yeah. So why should it be any different this week?
Meanwhile, Bedenators, as we showed, the Green Bay players are just such an advantage at the moment. It's not all roses there, obviously, but it just profiles a lot better this week. Yeah. And Phil's team has not shown a lot recently, so I'm going with a win for Bedenators as well. Next game then, we'll go straight on to the Toilet Bowl. It is Gridiron Gang against Bucking the Trend, which is also a Wembley Bowl.
Way.
2-6 Gridiron Gang take on the 3-5 Bucking the Trend, which could be a key matchup for last place in the league this season. Both teams coming off a loss. Projections do have it in favour of Gridiron Gang currently, though, 81-72. We look down the lineups. We've entered some sort of weird format, but adjusting to the normal format. Tom Brady's back in for the Gridiron Gang. Drew Brees is on a bye, and Philip Lindsay comes in for Brandon Cooks, let's say. Robbie Anderson comes in for... I've already forgotten who I was... Ty Johnson.
Not for you.
Yeah, for me. Sorry, for me. And the Jets D come in as well for the Jags D. So I am going with 10 personnel this week. 1 running back and 4 receivers. Mike, sticking with Kirk Cousins, though he may not have changed his team as yet, to be fair. Oh no, I think he has, because Adam Thielen's come back in for Mohamed Sanu. But other than that, is he unchanged? Did he bench Melvin Gordon last week? No, I don't think he did. No, I think you're right. So, mostly unchanged as well then there. And Mike's also going with 10 personnel this week. No history of this matchup, so we'll just let Chris take it away.
Yeah. Look, I think for Mike, he's really got to look at it and go, right, he's got some key players that need to perform. You know, I think particularly Thielen. You know, so if there's one game he's going to perform,
I think he'll be back. He obviously had his hamstring injury.
Yes.
Just covering off the injuries. Yeah, obviously my team in bye week hell. Mike's not doing too much better, so injury-wise, that's the only thing you need.
Yeah, you look at Thielen and you look at maybe Gordon, but I just don't see it this week potentially. I think the Cowboys D's and better play. But everyone else, I mean, Cousins and Thielen are going to be the key to Mike's week. Metcalf against Tampa, that's got potential shootout written all over it.
Mm-hmm.
Browning against Carolina, again, Carolina's D's good. Green Bay's D's good. Baltimore's D's good. Yeah. You know, this could really be a low-scoring slugfest because there's not much better on the other side. Yeah, Brady's playing Baltimore, same story, I'm afraid. You know, Tyrell Williams, I was singing his praises a minute ago. Great, I think against Detroit's good. Phillip Lindsay against Cleveland's.
They've been one of the softer rundies, but yeah, with Brian Allen coming in,
with the new QB, yeah, exactly. Hopkins against Jacksonville, I like it. Robbie Adams against Miami, I like it. Schuster against Indianapolis.
I'm not too hot on that one.
Don't really like it. No.
You saw, it's that's that DJ Moore against who was it again? Tennessee
definitely don't like that. So yeah,
exactly.
Jets against Miami, love it. So look, I think that if you're gonna do it, then yeah, you got to pick your team. You come off a 102-point week, and I think you can regress that much, especially with some good matchups. Mike, on the other hand, really got to hope Cousins and Thielen go mad, and Metcalf, you know, gets a 70-yard touchdown somewhere. Other than that, I just don't see where the point's going to come from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how my team blows it this week. No, joking aside, no. Yeah, both teams are struggling. This is why I was annoyed about that loss last week, because I did check. Oh, Mike's on the schedule. Obviously not going to assume that I'd automatically beat Mike, but I did the exact same exercise as you, Chris. Looked down at his team and thought, I could get a route to 4-5 here and come back. And you know what you said about Mike's team. It's tricky. Cousins and Thielen, you say he's got to rely on, but we've actually seen that Chiefs D play some pretty good football. Yes, the Vikings are a good team at home. Away, they are not the same.
Yep.
Kirk Cousins is nowhere near as good a quarterback in a bad matchup, which this is. So we'll see. They could light it up, but they could also bottom out. And then behind that, there is no one you can rely on Mike's team right now.
It's not even in skill positions anyway. That Cowboys D down the bottom, but even then, if Barkley goes mental,
and we just saw Daniel Jones have 36 points.
Against the Lions,
this Cowboys team not long ago lost to the Jets, who
that's true.
Have just been creamsickled since. So it's certainly worrying times for Mike's team. My team, yeah, I'm not too hot on Brady going into Baltimore.
No.
I think he can probably have an okay game. That's what I'm hoping for, at least.
Get a 15-point
and then, you know, it's definitely not pretty the rest as well there. Like you said, I definitely think this is going to be some sort of low-scoring slugfest. I'm just hoping. I think there's enough combination of slightly better players and perhaps slightly better matchups on my side to bring it home for me. But yeah, wouldn't be surprised to see it go the other way either. So we'll get off of this game swiftly to a game that's more interesting. The Ford Flyers take on the Dream Team. 6-2 Ford Flyers coming in on a 3-game win streak, take on the Dream Team. 4-4 looking to keep up. Projections have this one as a nail-biter, currently 93.3 to 92.52. Looking down the lineups for you, Chris. Dak Prescott comes back into the lineup.
He does.
And who else do you get back in the lineup?
Hilton's back in.
Darren Waller comes back in.
Yeah,
and Hilton come back in for Latavius Murray, who's on a bye, and Austin Hooper, who's also on a bye. On the other side, Viv's team, I don't think they've made any. Oh no, Mark Walton's come into the lineup for Ronald Jones. I think that's the only change. So Chris, you are going with 21 personnel this week, and Viv is going with 31 personnel. History of this matchup, Chris, you are 4-6 all time against the Dream Team.
Yeah, I mean, we said this about Viv's team last week, or the review of last week, is that he scored 75 points and wasn't great, and I think that the projections there are a little high on certain players. I think that Wentz against Chicago could be a bit of a bloodbath. I think Gore against Washington could be good, especially Adrian Peterson's. We've seen veterans still do it, but whether or not he scores 10 points, so I guess the
Washington, to their credit, have not been awful against the run.
No, they've been awful against the pass, but red zone opportunities as well. There should be loads of them, and I think Gore only needs one of them. LA against the Giants should feast. Ertz against Chicago suffers from the same problem as Wentz does. Dog matchup. We've said what we seem to say about the Vikings. Cousins has got to fire for Diggs to work. Walton bringing him in any player from the Dolphins is a problem.
So the reason why Walton might be a bit better than certainly Drake has been is because they've put him in effectively the Drake role, but he also catches passes, so he's almost game proof in the sense that he's going to get the carries, whatever they're worth, and then he's going to get garbage time catches. So it's not going to be pretty. I'm not by no means saying he's going to be good, but he could probably chip in up 10 points a week.
Yeah,
maybe.
that's it. If you can get him against the Jets, then great. I think Eagles D's a better play against Chicago, but only just. On my side, I've got the Bills against Washington. Talking about D's again, love it. Then going from top to bottom, Prescott against the Giants, great matchup. Hill against Pittsburgh, they've been better on D, but Jacoby Brissett's been great, and that O-line is fantastic.
Yeah, sure is.
So that should be good. That means that Mac can do what he does. So he hasn't been great touchdown wise, but volume has been there. Darren Waller against Detroit, we've seen much lesser players do bigger things against Detroit this year. So I like the look of that.
Waller's been a great ad as well.
He's been consistent.
It's funny because despite dropping the tight end spot this season from you have to start a tight end, you've actually probably benefited the most because you've added two great ones.
That's right. Exactly that. There's been no real rush for them. People would rather pick number 3 receivers for some reason than tight ends, and they seem to be under the radar. So for me, dovetailing tight ends has been ideal. I think that Evans and McCaffrey have been well worth their picks so far. Evans a little bit less so in the sense that he's been a bit spotty, but McCaffrey has been great every game that he's played. So I've got more X factor. I've got more consistent high scorers. I've got guys in better matchups, arguably. In key positions. I think that the root of Viv's victory is that Wentz has a day against Chicago. Do I think that's going to happen? No, I think they're going to run the ball a lot. I think Elliott's going to be very, very good against the Giants. But other than that, you got to hope that Diggs goes for some yardage and that Walton goes and does what you said.
Yeah.
For a team to go for 75 points and then beat the highest scorers in the league, I think that's difficult. If you stand back objectively, if it wasn't my team, I'd say exactly the same thing.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with everything you're saying. Look, I don't think Viv's team is as bad as last week paints. There's a reason he won 3 games in a row. I think I can still see that there. Like you say, it does. I think Gore, Elliott, even Walton, to be fair, I think you don't have to worry about them. They'll be fine. The guys you have to worry about are Wentz, Ertz and Diggs. They are the keys to the Dream Team. If they want a chance in this game, they need to perform. Meanwhile, your team, the only thing that's not great there is, the Colts playing Pittsburgh. But like you said, Frank Reich and Jacoby Brissett have been competent enough to overcome that. So between the two of them, they will get some amount of points, and the rest of the team should do very well indeed.
100%.
I too see a fairly comfortable win for your team this week, Chris. So we'll go on then to it's the team change bowl. The team name change bowl.
Be this week?
Yeah, they're both going to. Well, Ross is in Mexico now, so let's hope we get one from him. Otherwise, this is going to be ruined. So let's preview this game. Coach Nunn faces Coach Gardner in 2 polarizing seasons. Ross is trying to keep up for the division lead. Meanwhile, Coach Gardner is just trying to keep up. Projections currently in this one, though, 88 to 66 in favour of Coach Gardner. Wow, I'm actually surprised to see Ross have a full lineup, but the reason being Mason Rudolph has projected 1 point, and he will get... Well, he doesn't have a quarterback on the roster, so we'll have to see what he does, but he'll certainly get more than 1 point anyway. Emmanuel Sanders, comes into the lineup for Robert Woods, who is on a bye. Mari Cooper come back in too for Michael Thomas, who's on a bye, and Miles Sanders comes in for Sonny Michel. He might live to regret that.
Yep.
We'll talk about that later. Seahawks, D still in as well, actually. Yep. So Ross is going with 30 personnel this week. Meanwhile, Coach Gardner, David Montgomery comes in for Julio Jones, is on a bye. Odell Beckham comes in as well for Cooper Kupp, also on a bye. And then Devin Singletary comes in over Evan Ingram. Wow. Coach Gardner is going with 30 personnel as well. History of this matchup. Ross's team. I can't find it. There you are. 2-2 all time. So evens.
Yeah. Okay. So let's just go straight away with something I hate, which is, you've got Mason Rudolph, who did quite well last week.
I think Ross will probably almost certainly change that.
Yeah. All right. So he changes that. And let's say he brings in somebody like Jared Goff. I know who's.
Yeah, who you just released. Yep.
He could bring him in. So let's add another 20 points onto that. So it's 86.
Actually, no, Jared Goff is on a bye.
He is. That's why I dropped him.
He will not be playing Jared Goff this week.
Derek Carr's good.
Yeah, Derek Carr against Troy.
Like that.
Or Carl Allen against Tennessee. Probably not. Sam Darnold against Miami in an absolute Hail Mary. So that's right. Those are your 3 options.
Let's go with Derek Carr against Detroit, because that's what I would do. Mm-hmm. So let's add another 20 points onto that. So it's 86-28. There's not a lot in terms of matchup. But Russell Wilson, he's been carrying Ollie's team throughout the course of the year. I think against Tampa has got shootout written all over it, but on the other side, you've got the Seahawks D against Tampa, and I just don't like that either. So, if from one cancels the other out. Neither D I really like this week. Can the Vikings get around Matt Moore? Yeah.
Well, Mahomes might be back. It would be early, but from what we've seen, he could have come back. Worth adding as well, Miles Sanders got injured in the game on clear.
Absolutely, so he may not play. I think that if you're looking at the top 4, in terms of skill position, Coleman against Arizona come off a 35-point week last week, gets Arizona a great matchup. Mm-hmm. Jacobs has been a stud all year, really. Emmanuel Sanders hasn't been, but it's the time to shine against Arizona's fairly weak and feeble D. And Amari Cooper's been a machine. He's been Dak's number 1 target. So, the rest of it, bar the QB and the D, I quite like. And obviously Miles Sanders, but you drop him and he's got Sonny Michel on the bench.
Yeah.
Right.
That would be.
That would be. That's it. So you bring him in. I don't really mind that. I think if either of them were playing, I think that's what you'd do. One's playing in Chicago, one's playing New England, one's playing Baltimore. So what? On the other side, Shady against Minnesota. No one really knows what that Kansas City running back Treesom's doing at the moment.
Minnesota pretty good against the run as well.
It's an unbelievable committee. David Montgomery, flashes of brilliance.
Eagles great against the run too.
That's it. But he's not that type of runner. Mm-hmm. They're good. Odell,
going to be shadowed by Chris Harris.
Yeah, misfiring as well. That's it. You got a QB who just hasn't been at the races all year. Golladay is something I love. Singletary potentially against Washington, but Gore's still there.
Washington's been a pretty good run D. So
yeah. So it depends who gets a red zone touch. There's going to be plenty of red zone, but I think Gore's the guy for that, as he's been for most of his career. So I think Ollie's going to have a massive come down this week. I really do. I think Wilson and Golladay are the two that you've got to look at.
And I kind of have an interesting... So I don't have to say interesting because I can show exactly what I mean. Wilson surprisingly disappoints in the matchups that are easy. We'll take a look down. Cincinnati week 1, 20 points. Not great. Pittsburgh, tough D, 30 points. New Orleans, good D, 45 points. Yeah. Arizona, 16.
That's true.
LA Rams, fairly decent defense, still 37. Cleveland have been an okay defense, 33. Baltimore was the outlier, but against Atlanta, only 20. Yeah. He does not do overly well in the good matchups.
It's the floor, I suppose, in the sense that he's got that. Yeah. He runs around a lot in big games because he has to. He has to take it to them.
That's exactly it. You hit the nail on the head, and they just run the ball when they've got a lead and they know they can win by running the ball. Yeah. Because why wouldn't you? Basically.
Quite. I think again this is a bit of a low scoring slugfest. I really do, but I do think that the matchup of 4 skill players is better than the other 4 skill players on the other side. Change your QB out, you might have got a chance, Ross. So yeah, I think I'm going for Ross just over Ollie Gardner's team this week, whatever they're called. There's got to be a honeymoon.
For that. Yeah, for Ross.
Going for Ross. You've got to make that one up. But yeah, I just don't see a straightforward route for Ollie Gardner in bad matchups to win this game.
No, I agree. Like I said, I think Ross's team is actually pretty damn good this year. He's to his credit, he's done a good job of coaching it.
Yep.
He'll get that QB changed. It'll probably be Derek Carr who will do reasonably well, but the rest of the roster
I think Derek Carr will do great. I
really do. Yeah, and then like I already said, there are some horrifically bad matchups for Coach Gardner, and unless Wilson explodes, it's going to be tough for them to win this week for me. So next then we have Battle of the 4 and 4s. It's Bare Necessities against Ixan. Bare Necessities looks to keep up in the wildcard race. Meanwhile, Ixan looks to take a division lead. He's not going to get it according to this though, as he's projected to fall 88 to 84. On Bare Necessities, unchanged as yet, and no defense either. But there's a change that needs to be made on Ixan either as well, so we'll stick to what we said. So I don't think there are any changes for Bare Necessities now. Doesn't look like it. Just check the bench. Nope. So Ixan side of the ball, I imagine no changes as well because Todd Gurley's on a bye. No, there's not. Well, this makes for great previewing, doesn't it, listeners? Yes, so we'll just give you the history of the matchup. Bare Necessities are 3-9 all time against Ixan. Wow, that's gone under the radar.
Yeah. Very much so. So let's assume that Gurley's obviously comes out because he's on the bye. And who's he bring in?
He would bring in presumably John Brown.
I like John Brown as well.
Maybe George Kittle.
I'd like that more. I really like that. So I like either of them, right? So
and my dad would bring the Packers D in just for
which I like against that as well. And I like it because, for all the good that Rivers has done over the last couple of years, to see it bring the Packers D in.
They just fired their OC too. The Chargers.
So I think you bring him in, you bring the Packers D in, and Rivers could throw. Well, he's been pretty inconsistent, throwing picks, getting sacked. Great point score opportunity. Look, Dave's team's been great all year. I think that he just hasn't quite had the breaks that he needs to be able to propel himself into the playoff mix. Watson's pretty much matchup proof these days. Royce Freeman's been useful. Chudd's been useful. Allen Robinson's been very useful.
Very good.
Lockett's been very useful, especially with Russell Wilson, how he's been playing. Edelman against Baltimore, again, we talked earlier on about how the Patriots could come up against it, but he's still the number one receiver there. And the Packers D have been pretty decent all year, especially against immobile quarterbacks, and that's what Rivers is.
Yeah.
You look down there and you think to yourself, well, Dalvin Cook, he's been great all year, and that's not going to stop against Kansas City. I just don't see it happening. Marvin Jones against Oakland, another game where he could do well. I don't like Henry against Carolina. I don't like Sutton against Cleveland.
Yeah, so maybe if we check well, actually we already covered what Ben can go to, so we can get out of one of the bad ones potentially.
Absolutely. Panthers D against Tennessee could be really good as well, especially if Tannehill's still under centre, and I think he will be, but he's been better than Mariota for the last 3 weeks.
So Tannehill's always looked after the ball, and he just checks the ball down.
Absolutely. So it's more difficult perhaps. I said the Tennessee O-line is still not bad.
Mm-hmm.
So, who wins this game? I think Dave does. I really do. I think that he's had far more useful players. They've been in better form. He scored over 100 points, more than anyone I can think of this year. Whilst Ben's been quite spotty, I think the QB's a real problem. I think lack of touchdowns is a problem. I think the only way you can really get there is if you play one of Kittle or John Brown. I think both of them have really good matchups instead of Gurley, and them, whichever one of them is Cook and Marvin Jones has a day. I just don't see another route there.
No,
I think he's been riding Dalvin Cook's points a lot recently.
Definitely. Yeah.
And without a good performance from him, I think they're sunk already.
Yeah, it's really tough to look at Ben's team and see. There's so much talent on Ben Necessity's side of the ball.
Yeah.
Even when you throw matchups out of the equation, the matchups aren't. We were here.
We're still talking about
the matchups aren't necessarily great, but they're not awful. Meanwhile, Ixan, the plays aren't particularly great, also not awful, and the matchup's kind of the same story. So it looks like it's going to be a Ben Necessity's win
100%
this week, and might reverse the trend of their history against Ixan, but knowing us, probably not, because we know the numbers never lie.
They don't.
Our final game of next week, then, we have Tom's Tyrants taking on Pakistan. Another team looking to stay ahead in the division race, Tom's Tyrants 4-4. Who lost 2 in a row, take on Pakistan, who have also lost 2 in a row, but they are 2-6 and their season is all but over. Projections have this one going to Tom's Tyrants, 97-84. Looking down the lineups for Tom's Tyrants, no changes as yet, but DJ Chark and James Conner do both carry injuries at the moment, so they may not play this weekend. Pakistan, they have brought Curtis Samuel's already in there. They are unchanged as well, so I'm going to stop talking. Alternatives for Tom's team while we're here: Alshon Jeffrey against Chicago, Chris Godwin against Seattle, or Austin Eckler against Green Bay. So Tom is going with 31 personnel this week. Meanwhile, Pakistan is going with 20 personnel. History of this matchup: Pakistan all time against Tom's Tyrants is 2-3.
Well, I think seeing Kyler Murray gets flattened by a Bosa from half this game is going to be fun.
I'm wondering if, he's almost certainly going to go to Jimmy Swinson at Seattle, but to be honest, I'm not sure if that's too
not much better either. No, that's right. As it stands, him getting flattened and Josh Allen running rings around the Washington D should be fun to watch, and I think that's a key matchup here. But you look at Tom's lineup, and you've got almost exclusively home players on home teams. Fournette, Carson, Henry in a tough matchup. Chark, as we said earlier on, in a decimated secondary, and James Conner against a tough but not tough enough Indianapolis D.
No.
So I think you've got some names in there. Pat's team has been consistently inconsistent all year, and it doesn't help this week that they're playing Chicago, Tennessee's secondary. Minnesota tough, Buffalo D tough, Miami not very tough, but Le'Veon Bell hasn't really hit the heights this year. If there's one game that's going to hit the heights, it's this one. Minnesota again, Harrison Butker, and Titans playing in Carolina. We'll see what happens, but they could be ripped apart by Christian McCaffrey quite easily. I just don't see it for Pat. I really don't, and I don't want to start going, we're not going to look at this team in much depth, but the matchups are garbage. Tom's team has the names, the form, the fact that they've left a crazy amount of points on the bench suggests they've got a lot of depth. They could bring anybody in to replace them, and they still have better. But they've probably got better players on the bench than Pat has starting. So, I think this is a very straightforward Tom win. It's just by how much, and as it stands at the moment, it could be a silly margin of margin of win because I just don't see Pat putting up a credible score except at QB and and potentially Le'Veon Bell. But other than that, no other player really sparks it for me.
No, I think that's right. Look, if Mahomes is back, Hill obviously becomes a much more intriguing option.
Yeah,
but outside that, you are right. Yeah, I'm going to agree with you that Tom will probably almost certainly win this game.
Oh yeah,
but
he's got to bench his D. He's got to bench his QB because of his D. And I forgot about that. That's one.
That's the one key I have. The other key is I know Chark's. I think it's a hamstring he's dealing with right now. No indication as yet if he's in danger of missing the game. Connor, at one point, seemed like he was going to miss the rest of the season, and all of a sudden it looks like he could potentially play this week. I don't know. If he's out down those two players, that's just like I said, Jeffrey and Chicago.
Yeah.
Godwin comes in, so that's good. But yeah, like you say, Chris, despite that, I think there's still probably enough there to get him past it. Yeah, so I'm not going to labour it too much because I think Tom Tyrants is going to win. 100%. But I wouldn't be surprised to see a disappointing week from Tom.
They've got arguably the best top to bottom team in the league.
Yeah, arguably. And that is the podcast, just coming in under 90 minutes, which we like to do.
Yep, 100%.
Still have evaded the elusive goal of 60 minutes, but we give you a high quality product. So
we do. So you can pick and choose how you want. You can listen to it once a day, twice a day.
Yeah. So if you are me, Mike, or my dad, we will be at the last Wembley game this weekend of the year. Otherwise, you'll be watching football somewhere else. So as always, we like to wish you the best of luck in your fantasy football matchup this weekend, unless you're playing me, of course, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good week and have a good weekend, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Hell yeah.